everyone? NG Sensign here. Today I'm going to be reacting to another Rotten Mango video. This one is titled, Stalker Fan Sends Acid Bomb to Famous Singer Because If She's Ugly, Then No One Will Want Her. What a title. What a freaking title. Stephanie really knows how to hook and captivate her audiences with her titles, I swear. But this video was uploaded July 17th, 2024, and has over 2 million views. Dang. But before I react to this video, make sure you guys follow my Twitch, InGriffin9. I do daily live streams on here. So whenever I'm doing my live streams, you guys can feel free to say what's up to me in my chat. And yeah, just vibe and watch me play games and watch videos. But without further ado, let's get into reacting to this. This video is an hour long, and I will be sure to put the original link to this video in the description below, as well as my social media accounts, so you guys can go follow or sub on those. But yeah, let's get into this.
Bada bing, bada boo.
Rotten
One
Mango.
law enforcement officer wrote on this forum about his current life situation of having to watch all of these evidence videos that are being taken in. They wrote, no, you never get desensitized to it. You get burned out by it. I mean, some of the stuff I've seen, I can't get it out of my head. Stupid things like pet names that your partner might call you, like, oh, baby, sweetie, or even big boy, will bring back thoughts of you had to witness in these videos, and it's not a great experience. I have seen things in my life that I should never have seen. I mean, things that will make your skin crawl.
That just sounds like PTSD or trauma. And based off of this title alone in this video, this sounded like some serial killer type of stuff. Like I don't know exactly what crime it was, but I don't know. Just reading the title, it reminded me of something that I've seen on the news like years ago, or I might have watched a Netflix documentary on. I'm not too sure though.
Which is very.
And also, if I sound a little congested, I'm currently getting over something, so keep that in mind.
It's scary to think about it. For those law enforcement officers, every piece of evidence that they receive, they can't just shove it away in a box or put it in a hard drive and go, okay, yeah, we've got the evidence. We're good now. They have to log every piece of that footage. They have to, in most cases, categorize the footage based on the seriousness, the violence, and even the age of the victims in the videos. There are some computer software programs to help with the logging of images, but with videos, most of the time, a reviewing officer will need to sit there and provide a written account in graphic detail of what the video contains during the timestamps during each video. A lot of law enforcement officials state bluntly, they would rather deal with dead, decomposing bodies that smell incredibly horrendous than sit in front of a computer and watch these types of videos. There are dedicated task forces for these jobs. They have to receive regular counseling, heavy psychiatric evaluations. Even before they're tasked with logging such evidence, they typically go through these extensive training periods to develop the coping mechanisms, literally just to get their mind ready to watch these videos, to deal with the potential psychological trauma of what happens when they see something like that.
Of what they do to their victims, I'm sure. And I don't think me or any other sane person would have want to be exposed to anything remotely bad just for our sanity. Like, you know, I could be wrong, you know, for those who are watching this right now, you know, I can't speak for everyone. Some people are different. They're probably gonna thrive and want to know all the details on stuff like this. But me personally, it's nah. I already know for a fact I wouldn't be able to sit through and handle it.
The turnaround rate for someone in the task force like this usually is maxed out 1 or 2 years, maybe 3. Some don't even make it past a month. Sometimes they'll leave and they'll be asked to come back because they were really good at identifying markers.
Wow.
Identifying markers?
So in the video, you're not just looking at the crime. That's one element. You have to log exactly what happens in detailed format so it can be presented in court. But you're also looking for sweaters, music in the background, some sort of symbol that could indicate what state it was filmed in, what country it was filmed in, what time period it was filmed in. Was it summer? Was it winter? Was it this year? Was it last year?
Oh, I haven't
Some people are
identified
a
a
little bit more
time,
skilled than others. And
the weather, the location. Yeah, who knew? Who knew that you had to like really be descriptive when identifying a case? I mean, I obviously knew that the time and then the date and all that matters, but
they'll
wow.
be asked to come back. Some people don't even make it a month. It's that bad. The
Damn.
Hollywood, Florida police are in a very tricky situation. They're dealing with both a dead, decomposing body, and they have about 20 hours of footage that they need to go through. They need to watch 20 hours of footage to understand the full picture of what has even taken place here. It was such a bizarre call. They rushed out to this small apartment complex. They found a man dead in his apartment, completely nude. His face was painted this very grotesque green-red color, almost striped. Striped green and red fully.
Oh,
he
hell
looked
no.
like he was wearing a mask. He didn't even look human. The entire apartment is a mess, like a hoarding situation.
It looks like there was like fake blood on his face.
The only thing that stood out immediately to
Hell
them,
no,
well,
he looks like a
it's
freaking
pretty
psychopath.
unavoidable. Someone wanted them to find it. On the wall above the dead body, written in giant painted letters, it's taken up the whole wall, the entirety of the wall. It reads, "The 8mm tapes are a documentation of a crime, a terrorist matter. They are for the FBI." And it had an arrow pointing to a stack of tapes.
What?
Is that the 20 hours?
Yes. So if anything is going to help them figure out exactly what happened to this dead person, it's going to be the tapes. It's not something that they can let linger or wait for a designated task force. One of the tapes is even titled "The Last Day." They insert the tape and press play. The man's death is entirely caught on camera from start to finish. From him heavy breathing before his violent end, and even afterwards he...
Nah, I want y'all to like let me know in the comment section below. Would y'all be able to sit down and watch 20 hours worth of tapes? Watching someone just getting brutally massacred? Or I don't know what happened to the person because you know I paused the video and I'm new to listening to this, but would y'all be able to sit through and listen to stuff like this for 20 hours? I know for a fact I can't.
Lets out this kind of gasp.
Even though I react to long videos of hers.
And they just watch him
without
ease right
ease.
there on the screen. Okay, we'll start rewinding the tape. They start rewinding the tape to right before he dies.
To like really study and observe.
He had ripped the pages out of a book to make this little empty space, like a hidden compartment inside of a book. And inside of it, he had placed a bomb. He video logs that he plans on sending this book bomb, to one of the most well-known female celebrities in the entire world, straight to her home address.
My God.
The officers stare at each other. Stop the tape right now. They pause it. Did we not just see a book that looks just like that still inside of his apartment? Get everybody out.
This kind of reminds me of that one psychological horror film called Smile 2. If you guys don't know what that movie is about, it's basically, like I said, a horror film that consists of a female celebrity who's like a singer, and she gets exposed to dark entities when she watched one of her fans brutally massacre himself using a weight, like basically unaliving. I can't really say certain stuff because of YouTube's guidelines, but him like her watching the dude end his life basically caused a reaction and brought in dark spirits into her life to where she had to go days upon days fighting off the curse. And yeah, I already know that this does not have really anything to do with this, But I don't know why, but in my mind, it just instantly thought of that film. But let's continue.
Get them out now and call the bomb squad.
Rotten Mango.
We would like to thank today's sponsors who have made it possible for Rotten Mango to support the National Network to End Domestic Violence, a nonprofit organization dedicated to creating a social, political, and economic environment in which partner-related workplace and stalking violence no longer exist. They provide legal resources and support for things like restraining orders and much more. This episode's partnerships have also made it possible to support Rotten Mango's growing team, and we would like to thank you guys for your continued support as we work on our mission to be worthy advocates. As always, full show notes are available at RottenMangoPodcast.com. Now, before we get started...
Yeah, make sure to go support Rotten Mango, Stephanie, and her podcast as she provides all this crazy, juicy content for us to listen to or watch. Yeah.
A few quick disclaimers. There are a lot of heavy topics in today's episode, references to hate speech.
Everything she talks about is heavy.
Stalking,
but hey, we're all
self-exit.
here for a reason.
Additionally, the perpetrator in this case states that he has a genetic
That's why we're
disorder
all
as
here.
well as struggles with his mental health. Obviously, it shouldn't need to be said, but just in case, these are unrelated diagnoses, and anyone with similar disorders or mental health struggles is not inherently violent, nor does this particular case represent communities as a whole. So with that being said, let's get into it. First of the 20 tapes, which we will refer to as the video diaries. 20 separate tapes, 20 hours long video diaries. It starts on Ricardo Lopez's 21st birthday. His present to himself is this: the camera to document his life, his art, and most importantly, his big plans. He looks at the camera. Do you want to see something funny? I'm going to show you who I am. And
oh, Lord.
He pinches his cheeks, so his thumbs are at the edges of his mouth, and he pinches his upper cheeks to make like a very scary smiley face. And he gets closer to the camera and closer. I am a monster. Can you see me smiling at you? Comfort is what I seek in speaking to you. Something with I don't know, something that makes me feel better. For a long time, I've been speaking into a mirror and being my own psychologist or whatever.
I am a monster. Can you see me smiling at you? Oh.
He said that he plans on
I don't know what's more creepy, the face or the voice, or probably both, or them teeth. That has to be all. Surely, right? That has to be all.
documenting his plans to send his favorite celebrity an HIV bomb. Because she deserves
HIV
to die.
bomb?
So he's going to find a sex worker that has AIDS, pay for her blood. Obviously, he's not...
I was not expecting that. I'm sorry if I keep pausing this. I was not expecting an HIV bomb. What the fuck?
...sleep with her, he states that. Then inject the blood into hypodermic needles, send her a package looking like it's from a PR firm from New York City that's inviting her to an AIDS gala. That's perfect. In research for funding for AIDS, she's gonna open up the invitation and boom, straight into her thumbs, 2 needles will inject her with HIV AIDS blood. He states, I really like this AIDS thing. It's sort of poetic. Technically, if you really want to get into it, it's much easier than having to go fly over there and stalk her, or shoot her, or stab her. He said he would make the package seem like a formal invitation. He pretends to have his thumbs poked at one point, and he starts screaming bloody murder, because that's his master plan. This way, I mean, she can't not think about him. He will be the biggest part of her life. He will be the one person in her life that she'll never stop thinking about. She'll never forget him.
Oh no. You can tell that he has a mental illness, but it's very unsettling still watching this.
Those 2 hypodermic needles are going to poke her thumbs, thus introducing into her bloodstream HIV contaminated blood.
So for the next 20 hours, that's over the span of 9 months. So he's not vlogging like
That's
20 hours
sickening.
straight. He will start documenting his own mental collapse
Oh my god.
until he finally successfully mails a bomb to London. 9 months later, Ricardo Lopez would be dead. 20 hours of footage would be taped that shows his mind completely breaking apart, and he just gets further and further from reality. And a bomb will be sitting in a South London post office, getting ready to be delivered to a famous celebrity's residence. Just sitting there, rattling, bubbling, waiting to be opened. If you were to open the cardboard box, you would see a book in there, a book. And once you open that, everything would go to John, the maintenance man at the apartment building in Florida. He has had multiple calls about the same thing, which feels abnormal. It's September 16th, but it's still a little hot in Florida. But there's no reason for anything to be stinking up the entire place. Sometimes during the summer, you get trash left out. You mix it with the heat, the humidity of Florida. Yeah, it starts having a pungent smell that feels like it's piercing through your brain. But right now, it's September.
Ooh, excuse
He
me.
makes his way over to the apartment building. And yeah, okay, it does kind of smell rancid. He had
I'm
few
sure it
tasks
does.
that he wanted to do
I
prior
am
to all of
sure
this,
it
but the
does.
smell is so intoxicatingly horrendous, he feels like he's gonna pass out. He starts investigating, which is basically just him walking around, pausing, aggressively sniffing, and then walking around, pausing, and aggressively sniffing. And he's trying to figure out if the smell gets stronger or weaker in certain areas. Right here is the most pungent scent. He looks up and he sees the door leading directly into apartment A. He scrambles to get the keys out. He knocks on the door. Maintenance. So the maintenance staff, they're allowed to come in without prior approval in this building to fix emergency issues, which in this case, it seems like it's an emergency issue. Everybody's been complaining about this. He opens the door and nobody's home, or at least nobody's responding. The smell just keeps getting stronger as he walks in. The entire apartment is trashed. It's disgusting. It's filthy, but not gross enough to cause a scent like this. He steps over random pizza boxes on the ground. He sees this this is a tiny, cramped little apartment. And what takes up most of the space is this sculpture
That
of
is
a woman's
messy
face
ass.
made out of clay. It's probably the size of my upper
Messy
torso.
freaking room.
It's like a paper mache.
You know, I have to some degree OCD. So with me, anytime I see a room, an apartment, or a house out of order, I can't help but want to like clean it for some reason. It just bothers me. And no, I'm not saying that if I go over at like a friend's house or a random stranger's house, I'm just gonna clean all their shit for them. Hell no. No, that's for them to do. But I'm just saying, like, in my space, I have to keep things a certain order. I wouldn't even say I'm a neat freak, but yeah, just everything needs to be tidy. I can't even leave no cabinet doors open, no pantry door open. Like even using the bathroom, I have to make sure the toilet seat's closed. I can't leave that shit open. Now with that, I was raised and told that it's rude to keep it open, so that's why I close it. It's just because of, lessons. But yeah, that's me personally. I don't understand on how people can live like that.
Type of face?
I cannot.
Clay, I would say.
Clay.
Yes, and it looks professionally done. Like whoever is doing this, it doesn't look like something I would do. It looks well. It looks good. It resembles a person.
You can tell this is
It
someone.
resembles
Yes.
a person.
And if you're familiar with specific people, you might even be able to tell who this is. It's that
Yeah,
specific.
I mean
in
that
detail.
mannequin.
It's just
or
very
like-
strange.
Yeah, is
The
it a
maintenance man
mannequin?
looks down, and there in the
I
middle
don't
of
even
the
know anymore.
apartment, laying on the ground,
It looks
Dead.
very
is a man's
detailed.
fully nude body. He looks not human. He looks like a monster. His body had already started decomposing in the Florida heat, so his body is different blotches of different
Ew.
colors. His face is painted red and green. His head is completely shaved. His eyebrows are shaved. It looks like he put on a Halloween mask, but only on the front of his face, but it's
Oh
clearly
my.
not a mask. And he's dead.
That's
Did
actually
he
his
paint his
bald
own face
head.
before passing, or did somebody else paint his face? But why? There's a giant pool of blood underneath him. John turns on his heels. He walks right out of that apartment. He immediately calls the police. Authorities rush in. They survey the scene, and it's confusing because was this man kidnapped? Is this a terrorist organization? Because remember on the wall it said it's a terrorist crime, a terrorist matter. This is for the FBI. On the fridge, the words N-word lover are painted, and there's one last
N-word
weird
lover,
note
bro?
left behind.
Really crazy. Freaking just the crazy of the craziest.
on a canvas, like an art canvas that you would get
That
at
is
the
like
store,
the most random thing I heard.
situated directly behind the dead body, are the words, "the best of me." The best of me. The authorities are so confused until one of them points out the man died from a gunshot wound to the
Excuse me.
head.
My allergies
It
are kicking in.
appears that the way he slumped over, he would have been sitting right in front with his head in front, directly in front of that canvas. Meaning, it seems like the intention being, given the placement, that his brain matter was supposed to splatter onto the canvas, and that would be the best of him. At the same time, other officers continue watching the tapes. I mean, they're already putting the tapes in and watching them because time is of the essence. They see the dead man, Ricardo, before his passing, taking the bomb and going to the post office and shipping it successfully. He ships it all the way to England, London, where the singer has a home.
I better hurry up and go now. I'm gonna go now. I'm gonna go now. I'm gonna go now. It's not.
They rushed to call Scotland Yard, which is the FBI of England. The package had already arrived in a small post office in South London, and it was about to be dispatched and delivered to the singer's address. But they caught it. Do you know the best way to defuse a bomb, if you can?
Throw it into the water.
It's to make it explode.
Oh.
It's a controlled explosion. Either the bomb
Wow.
squad will evacuate the area and detonate the bomb, or if possible, the best
Wow.
case scenario would be to get the bomb, place it in a vessel or a robot that can handle the size of explosion that they're expecting from this size bomb, have it safely transported to a remote location, have it detonated in a controlled environment. Usually the bomb is placed under a reinforced chamber or it's buried deep into the ground. Sometimes the bomb squad will add additional explosives inside to make sure that the device is completely
It's
destroyed
completely
and no longer
destroyed.
active after detonating.
Gotcha.
That is
That
what
makes
the
a lot of
Scotland Yard
sense.
do to this bomb, the one that was addressed to the globally known famous singer. But now that the bomb is detonated, the singer is safe and secure. She never got the bomb. There's a few lingering questions. Why did this man from Florida send an Icelandic musician living in London a bomb? Like, it's so random. There's no connection. They don't know each other other than maybe he listens to her music. And why is he dead now? I mean, what was his plan? But
I
it's
mean,
crazy that it
did
went
right.
through customs.
Mm.
That is kind of crazy.
But is it because it's a very different bomb? Like it has, he's made it like needles and all that.
Yeah, it's not necessarily an explosive type of bomb.
Mm.
Yeah. Now, the dead man's name is Ricardo Lopez, but a lot of people that know him, they just call him the Bug Man.
The
He's an
Bug Man.
exterminator. That is his occupation.
Oh,
And he works for his
okay.
older brother, George, who owns this
I was like, where the hell did he get a nickname of Bugman from? Like, I was like, not people just being mean.
pest control company in Florida, which, you know, Ricardo is not very happy about. If you told Ricardo, when you drop out of high school at 16 years old to pursue art, you're going to end up being the Bug Man, he probably would not have believed you. Because that's crazy.
What type of art?
He did a lot of drawings, pastels, watercolors. I mean, he does seem to be skilled at art. He seems to have a talent, yeah.
Oh, the statue was made by him?
The sculpture is made by him.
Mm.
Now he's 21 and just exterminating cockroaches and flies on a
21.
daily basis. He would have these little outbursts on the job, and this is why his brother would constantly keep an eye on him. It's always been a thing in the family that Ricardo isn't the most mentally stable. You know, he's a little unhinged, but they try to be understanding. He would have these outbursts. I'm an exterminator, a bug man, as many people would choose to refer to me, you know, cockroach man. But most people in this world, I'd say the majority are cockroaches, me being one of them. If you look around you. I'm a piece of shit, eh? That's why I'm not interested in finding a girlfriend. I'm a dirty, sloppy, fat, disgusting piece of shit, okay? But he still took pride in his work. He would say, I really enjoy destroying these cockroaches. It's a pleasure for me. That and the fact that he had access to a lot of harsh chemicals because of his job. He would say things like, I have access to many potentially catastrophic chemicals, and that's my advantage because anybody can have guns.
Okay, so
Chemicals, people need access.
okay, so he basically gets off to killing insects and like bugs or creatures. So that's already a red flag right there. Anytime someone gets off to wanting to like kill insects, like they're enjoying that as well as killing like animals just for the sakes of doing it, there are likely chances that they're gonna become serial killers. That's just based off of the psychology research that I've done like years ago with like people such as Jeffrey Dahmer and all these other known serial killers. They started off with a small, like like mentally ill hobby consisting of killing insects or bugs and all that.
And knowledge, and I do. Which, to be fair, maybe he's just dealing with the trauma of having his dreams go down the drain, and this is his way of boosting his ego. I mean, I think it's terrifying, but I think a lot of his friends tried to be understanding about it. That's what his brother George and his friend Ralph thought. Other than these little outbursts at work, though, about how everybody is just cockroaches, other than that, Ricardo was typically okay most of the time. When he wasn't ranting about people calling him the Roach Man, he would have small, odd moments, but they were really small. So one time he was sitting with his friend, Ralph, at dinner, and the two of them are so close that silences throughout the dinner, no big deal. They're sitting in...
No dressing on that, bro? Oh, nah. I can't eat no salad without dressing. And just pure tomatoes, bro. I don't even like tomatoes. I mean, that shit has been genetically modified. It's just not even enjoyable.
Silence, enjoying each other's company until Ricardo suddenly breaks the silence.
But that's besides the point.
What if you saw your ex-girlfriend working at a strip club? What? Just imagine her stripping down in front of everyone. The two start debating what they would do in that situation. And I guess the primary reaction would be shock, right? There's another moment of silence before Ricardo comments. Just because you kill somebody doesn't mean that you don't love them anymore.
This is what the friend shared?
Wait, what?
He shared it in his video diary.
Just because you kill someone doesn't mean you love them anymore? What? What kind of sick twisted way of thinking is that? What the fuck?
Oh.
You know what?
You know, just because you kill somebody doesn't mean you don't love them. And he goes, yeah, you're right.
Yeah,
just because you kill somebody doesn't mean you don't love them.
There are just some things we are not meant to understand, and not everyone is meant to understand the mind of the mentally ill. If you try to understand that, you're just gonna cause more harm than good. That's like trying to say, "Oh, I can fix them," but 90% of the time, those people that say that they try fixing someone, you cannot fix someone that does not want to be fixed themselves. That person needs to go to therapy and want to seek help themselves before they can go to others asking for help. Always remember that.
So I didn't expect that, but that's interesting.
So yeah, I mean, Ricardo has these little quirks here and there. I mean, like a few years ago, there was another incident. Ricardo's family had walked into his room, and it was pretty terrifying. I mean, but also potentially amusing if they thought this was some sort of like YouTube prank. Starting from the top where the ceiling begins, all the way down to the floor, every single inch of every single wall is covered in the same face, a picture of the same face. Ricardo had taken a picture of one person and taped it all over his walls.
Like those YouTube pranks.
Exactly.
Holy
but it wasn't
cow.
a prank. I mean, what the hell? Like, what's going on? Is this the celebrity that he won't stop talking about nonstop?
And like, correct me if I'm wrong, but weren't these tapes taken in 1996, like it showed on the bottom? YouTube wasn't founded until 2005, wasn't it? If I'm not mistaken, it might have been 2005 or 2007, one of those years. But yeah, the point is, he was doing this way before, all this became a thing, before the internet became big.
And that he purchased all those magazines.
Unless
about,
I'm
is
just
that the one, the CDs?
reading and looking
why is
into
he
this
obsessed with
wrong,
her?
which
Ricardo
I
would
think
come
I
home and try
am.
to convince
I'm
them
just
it's for an
overthinking.
art project. It's supposed to be like creative expression. But the family would never forget because it was just so strange. Ricardo would later say this was his attempt to get rid of his obsession. I mean, think about it. If you're obsessed with somebody, if you're obsessed over a famous celebrity, how are you going to move on? How are you going to continue in reality? If you think that you have a chance at dating them and your whole life is being held back, how do you move on? He has to break the fantasy. He said, F it. I was going to desensitize myself. I had hundreds of photographs of her face all over my walls and everything. That way I would get sick and tired of looking at her face, and it would lose. That was a big step for me. But clearly, it didn't work. That's not what happened. Because the police are now sorting through 20 hours of footage left behind. They're learning about his plan to send his obsession an HIV-infused bomb, and they just need answers because this case is going to blow up internationally. They need to figure out what to tell the public. Did he send other bombs? Is this a case of a deranged stalker? Did he stalk any other celebrities too? Are there other crimes that he might have committed? And why Björk? Why this celebrity? The tapes are only from Ricardo's perspective of things, and how much can they trust? From records, they can see that Ricardo Lopez was born in Uruguay before immigrating to the US as a kid. He first moved to Georgia, that's where he was raised, then to Hollywood, Florida.
Georgia.
Yeah.
He was here.
Yeah. But that doesn't tell them too much. I mean, the authorities, they reach out to people who would have known Ricardo when he was a kid, and they want to know because sometimes those with obsessive personalities, to the point that they become violent towards their obsessions, there might be signs when they're young. There might be little clues. Everyone who knew Ricardo was very confused on how to answer the question. I mean, he was close with his family. There was nothing to indicate that something was wrong. I mean, unless you consider being very shy a crime. He's just one of those kids that didn't make a lot of friends. He liked to keep his circle small.
It's, this is going to really sound cliche and typical, but they say that it's some quiet ones that you typically have to be careful of because you don't know what they're capable of. That's what they always say. And 90% of the time, no, I'm not going to say 90% of the time. That's too much of a high number. I'm just going to say 50-50. There's a 50% chance that the quiet kid is likely going to be the one that, SS. I'm not going to say what it obviously is on YouTube, but school, yeah. That's all I'm going to leave out. Or they're just going to grow up to be people like that guy. But
he's an introvert, very big introvert actually. I mean, even now,
yeah, it's the shy introvert
probably only
ones.
had like one guy friend.
And
two guy
I'm
friends?
an introvert, but I have my extroverted tendencies.
96.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Ralph being one of his best friends. But you know what? Now that they're all thinking about it, he did have this thing where he was terrified of talking to girls. Like, terrified. But everybody just thought, I mean, he's super shy.
He was just shy,
He was
timid.
extremely intelligent, though, so he just maybe not interested in dating? He did have this fantasy, though, that he would become this world-renowned artist, and that would occupy his mind since childhood. But he didn't become one,
He didn't
right?
become one.
Well, he never applied to any schools. He was too terrified of rejection, so he just wouldn't apply. He did have this small thing, though, where he would sometimes get...
Okay, and that probably explains why he was terrified of talking to girls, because the whole fear of rejection, being told no. It's just something to think about.
Fixated on certain movies or certain actresses. Like one time he was watching Thelma and Louise and he knew every line to that movie. Same with Beetlejuice. His favorite was this actress named Gina Davis. It's almost like he watched anything that she was in. I mean, anything for her, he would watch it, he would buy it. He knew everything about her. He could recite any
Celebrity
line
crush.
that she had in any show or movie. Even if she was just like making a cameo and had one line in a show, he would know that line and he would know the timestamp of when she comes on. Which sounds a little bit alarming, but one day he went to go buy a magazine with her on the cover, and he realized that Gina Davis is now in a public relationship with fellow actor Jeff Goldblum.
So
He was devastated.
he was.
You would almost think that Gina Davis
Oh
was
my
cheating
God,
on him,
he
that
was
they
one of
were in a
those
relationship or
fans.
something, which is alarming, but he got over it, which is probably why his friends and family didn't think anything crazy about it. It's not that alarming. I mean, eventually he gets over it, so what's the matter, right?
It's a celebrity too. I mean, it was bound to happen. It's bound to happen. That's like me obsessing over Zendaya or Billie Eilish, but then they post on social media that they got a significant other. It is what it is. It is what it is. I already know that the chances of that were going to be highly. They're going to be very likely, but everyone's different.
So why didn't he get over Björk? Why go so extreme? If you guys don't know, Björk is an Icelandic musician, and she is honestly, I don't know how to describe her music. I went onto Reddit. People describe her music style as unconventional, avant-garde, very diverse and eclectic, one of a kind, full of emotion. I mean, just very experimental. One person writes, It's a very emotional experience from a sonic form. Initially, causes much confusion and incredulous looks at first, and then it just creeps up on you until you are utterly and hopelessly in love with her music. I've never listened to her music prior to the research of this case. I might start after. I mean, not that she like needs my streams or anything. She's massive. She is one of the biggest names in music, to the point where a lot of other experimental artists, they all get compared to her. So for example, Grimes, she doesn't like being compared to Björk. She loves Björk, but she just gets annoyed that all experimental musicians get compared to Björk, especially if they're a girl or if they identify as like a woman, right? But that's how big she is. If you're in the experimental music world, everybody's getting compared to Björk. And that's like the highest compliment you could probably get. She was one of the biggest names in the industry. She's actually a very fascinating character. Her first album, which was an album full of covers of other artists' music, was released when she was 11. She just did it for fun. It wasn't a serious debut, but she still ended up selling 7,000 copies, which is kind of wild. And she has this very fascinating background, which probably contributes to the way that she makes her music. Her dad is this super conservative leader of the union type of figure, like the labor union. Her mom is an activist that everybody said kind of lived more of a commune lifestyle. They called her a hippie. Her parents are divorced, by the way, so she grows up between going to her dad's house, which is super rigid, very rule-oriented home, to her mom's free-spirited, everybody gets to do what they want. There's 8 adults living in that one house. Even the kids, the type of environment, just back and forth, back and forth. It's a very complicated background.
Back and forth.
Björk said that she loved and hated the experience of being so free on her mom's side. She said, can you imagine being brought up by 7 grown-ups who all hate work and all they want to do is play games all day?
I'm just, out of curiosity, where is Stephanie going with this? How does this have anything in pertaining to do with the crime? I guess we gotta sit and find out.
And tell you 4-hour-long stories and make kites.
I noticed that she tends to do this in most of her podcasts.
Yes, like she loved it and grew to resentment because when you're a child, you want order and authority.
But I might have to just continually sit and
She said the house was painted purple, so. Yeah. Later in Björk's musical career, she becomes very experimental. Apparently one time, she wanted the acoustics of a song to sound a very specific way. So she went ahead and starts recording in a bat-infested cave in the Bahamas. She went to a cave and starts recording in there. She wants to be in very particular environments that embodies the type of music that she's trying to make. She once said in an interview, a lot of what I was doing before was to please other people. It had been my biggest fear since I was 11 to be in the spotlight. In the band that I was in Iceland, I even tried to look as ugly as possible so that people would listen to the music, but not look at me. Being a woman gets in the way. If people see me as a object, it is their problem. And yet, there was this very, very big problem.
That's some deep stuff.
A fan from Florida had become so obsessed with Björk, with her music.
Okay. I'm starting to see where this is going.
That he planned on grooming her. This is so complicated. Let me explain. Ricardo Lopez is 21 years old when he starts taping his video diaries. Björk is 31 years old. So how would he groom her? I mean, that term specifically refers to the manipulation of someone far younger than you, typically underage.
Yeah.
But Ricardo has a plan. His plan is to time travel. The ultimate fantasy. What? In his video diaries, he describes his plans way better than I can because they're so unhinged. But he states he wants to go back in time and meet Björk when she's a little child. Why?
No.
To be the single most important influence on her life.
What does that mean? Help her
Hell no, bro. Hell no.
develop that
It always resorts to this sick shit. I swear.
For the fact that, imagine a traveler from the future that comes with news from the future, and
Oh
I
my
came to
God.
Iceland exclusively to see her, Besides, going to the past is simple compared to going to the future. The future is,
Freaking disgusting.
cryonics, the art of freezing people, right? That sounds crazy, but there's a corporation in California that freezes the rich and famous.
Yeah, like they've been saying that Walt Disney himself is not really dead. He's just held captive, frozen in a chamber. As a lot of, as many conspiracy theorists like to claim. I don't know.
They'll freeze your whole
I don't
body,
want to
pump out all
go
the
too
water in
much
your
into
body, and then
that.
they inject like a gelatin into
People
you.
are entitled to
Put a
believe what
different
they want to
cocktail
believe,
of
though.
drugs into
I'm
you
gonna
to
just
help
say
your cells
that.
avoid freezing. And it goes into detail, and I can talk about it later if I want. But the thing is, they freeze your body for the future. They just don't have the technology today to resuscitate you.
To resuscitate
But they will
it.
soon. So this is the plan.
And they talk
You
a
get
lot
frozen,
about that.
and then
All
150
them
years later,
conspiracies.
250 years in the future, you wake up and they have a time machine type thing that's already built. Well, that's the fantasy, right? The plan was to freeze himself, wake up in a time machine, right? Then go back to the past to be the single most biggest influence on Björk's life.
Bro thinks this is
He says,
Futurama.
me being there in her reproductive
Back
years
to the
or young,
Future.
flowering years, looking up to me, you can change people at an early age, but not when they're much older. The earlier, the younger you are, the more vulnerable, okay? Especially a young girl. Their minds are very vulnerable. Ready for information? That's how minds work.
That's how minds work, and the younger you are, the more susceptible it is to a person with a plan, sort of like to, not to abuse it, but to mold it,
I want to get her to be interested in me. Man, who the hell is this guy? If I go back in time, change her life completely, and she decides to stay in Iceland and she pursues, her career, of course, but like in a different, completely different fashion, this and that, and maybe she's not famous, okay? Either way, the plan is go back in time with the knowledge that I have now and just bring her the utmost pleasure, She's never had any experience if I meet her when she's that young. And imagine what that could be for your first experience, for hours. He talks about performing oral.
Oh.
First of all, is he being serious or is he just talking out of thin air right now?
It seems like this was his ultimate fantasy, but he realizes it's not going to work. He doesn't have the money to get frozen. He doesn't know if this is a surefire plan, so he's just going to kill her instead.
Wow.
But this is his ultimate fantasy. If he could make anything work.
Wow.
Oh
Okay, so his
my god.
ultimate plan is go to this company, get frozen,
Yeah.
wake up 50 years, 100 years later.
Next to Walt Disney.
Next to Walt Disney?
Who
I
is
mentioned that.
allegedly frozen. Yes.
Exactly like I mentioned, bro. Exactly like I stated. Walt Disney. All these conspiracy theorists like to think that he's not really dead. He's held captive, frozen in a chamber. And it's not even only him. They say that about Prince, Michael Jackson, and all these other beloved celebrities. But if there's proof of them dying, then how can you say that they're frozen? There's no proof of it.
Oh, okay. And there will be a time machine built
Already.
from the future, and then you
Yes.
jump in there and travel all the way back
Yes.
to groom her.
Yes.
Crazy.
Wow.
And I don't know where in the timeline this is, but he talks about being her very first and how he will go down. And he would say things like,
make yourself comfortable, get a pillow, and say, baby, I'm going to be here a while. So don't have any anxieties about me quitting up, right when you're getting started or
This is
before you
making my
finish.
stomach hurt.
I'm going to be here a while.
boom.
Ugh,
I'd probably have her
ugh.
sit on the washing machine or something like that because, the vibrations during the spin cycle, anything that would help. And then I would just calm down that beast, her sexual desires. And then she would be happy and I would make her laugh and feel great. She would be happy with me. For some reason, oh man, I saw how amazing it was to, when men go down there on women. Again, I don't know where in the timeline this is. I mean, either way, it's very alarming, disturbing, and jail. But he continues. I even blush from the results from guys doing that to girls. It's overwhelming. Man, you can make a girl feel like that? Wow, that's truly bewildering. Keep that as my weapon in my mind. I learned a lot about it, especially from lesbians who, are undoubtedly the best. So 2 things I have as a weapon if I go back into the past are making a girl
Oh,
arrive
no,
at the
this guy-
destination.
This guy's
I'm
sick.
saying it like that. He's saying it much more crass.
This guy is
through going down
deranged.
there. And 2, making her laugh. 2 of the reasons why any girl would stay with me. He
Wow.
says that he needs Björk to see him, really see him for who he is. He states, Björk has been an incredible part of my mind. It started with a crush and
Okay, just because you think of her, what makes you think she's gonna think of you? In your sick, twisted fantasy.
ended up with an obsession, which I'm not
That's
embarrassed to
fucking
admit now.
crazy.
It's an obsession.
That's
It sort
fucking
of calmed
crazy.
down. I mean, times I've been okay with it. It flared up. The flaring up usually comes about by, reading an article. See, I had nothing in my life at that point, really. I was just working, and my life was pretty empty, especially about real feelings, being in love, having an infatuation. It was this euphoric feeling. I had something to look forward to every day. Her music, herself, her being alive was making me happy. I wanted to make her as happy as she made me. What's so startling about this footage, and I watched all 20 hours of it, like at points he says he knows it's crazy, but the way he talks is so casual and is so blunt, it's almost like, I mean, this is what it is. He's not like fanatic, like, oh my God. He's just very like, this is what it is. I mean, I want her to be as happy as she makes me. Like he's talking about someone he personally knows. The first time Ricardo heard Björk's song was at his brother's house. Her music video was playing on the TV, and he glanced over. It was weird. He was like, she is weird. This song was honestly, in his humble opinion, not that great. She has insane vocals, don't get me wrong. He has to give her that. But it's not his style, which is fine. It's just like, the style is kind of what the fork. But as an artist, he could resonate with her style, just her uniqueness, the fact that she's so creative and is not boxing herself into a genre, that is the message he can get behind. Anyways, he goes home after his brother's house and he remembers, oh yeah, that music video. He gives it another listen, mainly to get inspiration for his own art because he's trying to be an artist, but he can't stop looking at Björk's face. Just the way she did everything. He said it's just this mixture of beauty and strangeness. He said he had never seen a girl quite like her. At first, she kind of looked Chinese? No, more mixed. Just, quote, beautifully strange, exotic, you know? And anyway, I loved her voice. And that was the moment she, quote, entered my mind. And it's almost like she was looking for him too, or she wants him to find out. He states that he would randomly be watching other TV shows
What kind
that
of
had nothing to
sick?
do with
What
Björk,
kind
and
of
then
sick
suddenly
shit
she'd
is this,
disappear
man?
by chance. And he would be watching this long interview, and all of a sudden Björk would be a guest, and he thought, oh, okay, that's cool, I guess. I get to listen to her talk again. The way he says it gives me the inkling that that is not true. Yeah. I get to listen to her speak again, and he just keeps noticing all the special things about her face. But this time it's like her little quirks and mannerisms and her accent. She's got an Icelandic accent, and it's very pronounced. He said, you know, I'm completely intrigued. And I myself have many of those similar quirks, you know, like scratching and the crinkling of her nose, you know, picking her pantyhose. I myself as a child had many of those quirks of like fidgeting. And I found that kind of cute, you know, and then I learned she had a son. I didn't know how old she was. She looked so young. I guessed her to be in her early 20s. Very young. She looks
Very
almost
young
like
to have
a little girl.
kids.
No wrinkles. Very, very.
I'm still keen on this idea. I don't understand on how when people graduate right after high school, they're so quick to having kids and starting a family. Why don't you experience life, travel around, get to enjoy things while you're young before you start wanting to settle down and start a family at that age? Like I feel like minimal, like I'll say that probably the best age to start wanting to start a family will probably be your late 20s or early 30s, or mid 30s. Yeah, I'm keen on maybe early 30s or mid 30s, because in your 20s you're still experimenting and trying to discover who you really are. Like your mind doesn't fully develop until you're 25, I believe. If I'm not mistaken. If I'm not mistaken, my bad. I'm tongue twister. I cannot really talk today. But yeah, I don't understand how people or kids like 20, 21 can just have kids so soon. That boggles me.
Young.
I was quite surprised later when I learned that she was, 28 at that time. I was like, wow, man, no way. It was a little bit of a letdown in a way.
A
But he
little
couldn't
bit of
stay
a
away.
letdown.
Everything
What the
about her,
hell
just
are
the way
you
she
talking
talks. In
about?
one interview, she said, I insist to be happy, mad, sad, stupid, brilliant, genius, horrible. I mean, happy. I'm going to be it all. I make an effort not to forget all
I
these
feel like
different
having a kid
colors
at the
to
age
get
28 is not bad by all
hilariously drunk
means.
and forget
Because
to
you
pay
should
my
already know
electricity
better. You should
bills
know
and
what
to
you want
forget what
in
time
life.
it is and miss airplanes and run a band without a fault.
You definitely wouldn't want to wait until you reach your 40s or 50s to have kids, though. That's just my opinion. That's why initially I said late 20s or early 30s, just so you're not so old to raise kids. But I just feel like your 20s are probably the most crucial years of anyone's life.
He resonates with that.
But it
I
all
would
depends on your
read what
maturity.
every single person was saying about her. One comment reads, "She uses her voice much more than a vehicle for lyrics and poetry. She communicates textures when she's singing. I saw her live a few years ago and her vocals are no joke."
Rotten mango.
He states in his video diaries, "Like I said, it started with a crush and ended with an obsession. We humans have a natural tendency to worship. Since the beginning of time, civilizations have been worshiping either one thing or the other. The sun, we have that need in us to look up and to worship. Now, for some people, it's different things, but everybody worships something. For a lot of people, it's money. Oh, that's their God.
Oh yeah,
Other people,
greed.
it's, pleasure,
Greed
that's
is
their
one
God.
hell of
People
a
always submit themselves and look up to
one
something.
hell of a
Apparently,
sin.
in my case, it's her. A human, just like me, an imperfect, fleshly creature, which
And it
I
corrupts
put
the
her
mind
in
of
this
many,
angelic status.
sadly.
I see her like a daughter. A lot of it has to do with her childlike looks and her childlike voice and being so spontaneous and cute. I never really saw her as far as her beauty. I never really saw her as elegant and this and that. She's always been cute and smiling in the way she was like a daughter type of figure. The most I've ever wanted to do with her, I've never had thoughts about her, is just to hold her. I've had many fantasies of just holding her, just her holding me, so it'll be all right. Feeling her lungs, taking the breath of life and expelling it. It's quite a feeling. It's quite a feeling, isn't it?
Okay,
What I
chill.
just felt right now, I just felt a rush. It's kind of silly, but it makes sense. Technically, God had to fill the earth, bring males and females together. This is different. When you look at the person and you just want to hold them in your arms forever, I love you, just be there together, just me and her and feel that bond. The reason why there's magnetism like that, now for anyone to tell me that that's not love, they're the ones who are out of their minds, because that's plain and simple. Because this is a very instinctual type of thing,
No.
Because we're animals and stuff like that. The male, the instinct has always been that protective provider type of role. The woman instinctively has more of that caregiver, the preparer of foods, this and that.
When a man sees a woman as a little bit of a childlike, helpless, somewhat, he sees her like, submissive, and that's very attractive.
When a woman blushes, it starts in the cheeks. And I always found that subconsciously attractive. Never really thought about it. She's blushing. She looks cute. I never thought of it. But it's flattering, Very childlike.
He needed to go outside more and experience life. He's been isolated to the point it got into his mind, and then he started just thinking like that. Or hypothetically, even if he did go out in public more and saying this type of shit to women, yeah, he would make them run off.
Very innocent. And then the flushing moves
That's
down
just
the
sad,
neck,
man.
and then after a while onto the chest.
It's,
And that's
it's
very
disturbing.
response, okay? Because again, men like a submissive, helpless little girl looking up to you. Even back during the Victorian ages, women would sometimes have he goes on monologues.
Where?
Yes.
Like, what video is this? Like, number 1?
Oh.
This is the introduction.
Let me tell you, it's all merging together. I think this is like 5 or 6.
Okay, so he goes on. He's just talking about his thoughts.
Yes, nothing is very coherent. So as he's like making bombs, yeah, he will go on his thoughts. Sometimes he will literally just vlog. He'll come home after work and then just turn the camera on and share his thoughts before going to bed.
And sometimes you're saying he's working on a bomb.
Yeah.
Is he vlogging the bomb too?
That's
Yes.
crazy.
And he's talking while he's working on the bomb. Like random thoughts.
Random thoughts.
Oh no.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh
Even
my
back during the
God.
Victorian ages, women would sometimes have heels, like 6-inch heels or something like that. And they'd be walking on their toes. They always had to have an escort that they, when they walked, because they would fall over. And that helped, because hopelessness is very attractive to males. Instinctual. He continues, I think that's my underlying reason for my attractiveness to her physically. That and her voice too. She has such a childlike voice. When she spoke, very sweet, very subtle. And then when she sang, unbelievable. The degrees of emotion that she sparked in me. And her face, larger eyes, they look more childlike. Higher cheekbones, right? Shorter foreheads, little details like that. Her little button nose that completely drove me nuts. Oh, I love her nose, so cute. She's got such a cute little girl's nose. Also, she's much older than him. This is so weird. He says in the video diaries, I close my eyes and I see her perfectly clear. I know her face more than most people do. Every line, everything, I see her, and it gives me a happy feeling when I forget, what she's saying, and when I forget what I've learned about her. When I look at her, I see a sweet little girl, innocent. That's what I want her to be, because she has many, many very, very crazy aspects of a child. And now she is all he thinks about every waking second of Ricardo's day. Nothing else matters but Björk. It's getting bad. Ricardo actually knows it's getting bad. He would retreat into his little fantasy world where he's having full-blown conversations with her in his mind. Just constant back and forth. And at first he said it was to indulge himself, but now it's become a problem. He says, she had become such an entity in my life. She was so real. Every single thing that Björk put out, he had to buy it. He had to own it, possess it. Even if a magazine just had a small little who wore it best segment on Björk with one picture, he would buy the whole thing. It's like the more he owned of these products, the closer he was to her. He starts keeping up with where she's promoting what song, doing what tour. He was almost keeping tabs on all of her whereabouts. He starts writing a 803-page journal documenting his love for Björk. 803 pages. Everything he learns about her, how it makes him feel, he doesn't want to forget a single thing. Interestingly, his journals would bounce back and forth between his love for Björk. He wrote her name in that journal over 400 times. He mentions a few other celebrities here and there, and it's all interwoven with these monologues of how much he hates himself and he's a big loser. He made at least 150 references to himself being a failure and over 50 references of violence, ranging from violence against himself and straight up murder.
Murdering the Björk?
Yeah. And it's starting to piss him off a little bit that she never writes back to him because he's writing her letters. He's part of her fan club. He says, if she had just written back just once, I would have been happy. But she didn't.
So this is basically the song.
What did he
Stand
expect?
Eminem,
That's
right?
what a lot of people say, about this case. Instead, the worst day of Ricardo's life happens.
Wow.
Ricardo and
Well,
his
then
buddy
again, he's
Ralph were
mentally
out
ill,
to the
so I
movies
didn't
one
expect
night,
for him
and they
to
bought tickets, but they still had some time to kill before
expect
the movie
anything.
started. So they head over to the Barnes and Nobles in the same
That's just
shopping plaza,
horrible.
which is like a massive bookstore. And they start walking through the magazine aisle. He sees 2 magazines with Björk on the cover. Jackpot. He buys both. If Björk is on the cover, he doesn't even check the price. He grabs it.
Double same magazine? Twice?
No, 2 different.
Oh, 2 magazines.
He buys both of them, throws it into his little basket. He's so excited, but he has to play it off cool in front of Ralph, make it seem somewhat normal. He just casually flips through it here and there. And then when he gets home, he starts really analyzing it. The first magazine was good. She just has the most enchanting look. He says, when I first looked at her, wow, she blew my mind completely. I've never seen her look like that before. Those olive green eyes. But by the second one, things are starting to get weird. In an interview, all Ricardo members or wants to remember from this is that she talked about having a rough relationship with alcohol. He scrambles in his diary. She's an alcoholic, big time. Which is not very childlike of her.
He did not like that.
Yes.
He's mad? Is he mad about that?
Yes, but nothing compared to this. And she has a lover. So at this point, she already has a son.
Yeah.
But there in the print, in the words, states that she's in a relationship with a music producer named Goldie. He flies into a rage. He starts spiraling in the video diaries, thinking about what the 2 of them have done together intimately. He says, she broke the worst law you can break, in my book. She went out with a black man and f***ed him. Probably.
Wow. Holy shit, man. I'm lost for words right now. This is like some next level psychopathic shit right here. This is like an overly obsessed fan, which I'm sure many celebrities they fear to have fans like this. This is like next level though. No doubt.
Went down on him too.
No doubt.
Who knows? She probably even got him in the back. Like he goes on a rant of how all the black men are taking the white woman. Side note, he's from Uruguay, so he's South American.
Okay.
Yeah.
And again, I see a lot of people on the internet saying that, but that is a huge flawed way of thinking. We're human. Race should not matter. We're all human at the end of the day. We're not aliens. Our skins may be different, but inside, we got the same muscles. We got bones. It's just, we're human. I don't understand that. I will never understand how people can be racist. But I'm not political or anything like that, but I do believe in what's right. And that's not right at all. You should not judge anyone because of their race.
I guess it's like, okay, so it's very interesting. A lot of people have analyzed this, and I don't know if I should be in the one speaking of this, but in the beginning of the video diaries, he's very much white passing. His cadence, I guess, is what you would consider more American. You don't hear much of his accent. And he has this like fluffy, floofy hair that looks very quintessential, I guess, like white. But then throughout this diaries, he starts
cutting
shaving
his
his head, and he starts letting his accent come out more freely. So it's very interesting. I don't know.
Why did he shave his head?
Yeah, why?
Oh, he has like a mental break again throughout the video diaries,
Okay.
and he declines physically and mentally. So he just shaves his head twice.
Just a little mental break.
As a
Yeah.
mental breakdown.
We'll get into it.
Oh, okay.
So he starts ranting.
Explains.
There's less than 3% of white women in this world, okay? But to let you know some of the facts, to remind myself, 3% of white women in this world that are of childbearing age. 3%, that's it. And now they're dating black men? Well, he doesn't even say black men. He uses like a lot of slurs.
Slurs.
He also goes on to
Typical.
state that the best type of place for him to attack, another
Typical.
fantasy of his, is to go, quote, shoot up a place. And the best target, quote, would be a f***ing rap concert.
The best target will be a fucking rap concert. Oh my god. Those are the type of people.
And that alone right there, that already explains that he was mentally ill. Racism is a mental illness.
that love.
And if he wasn't racist, you know, he still messed up in the head.
You have to pick all you motherfuckers with me.
Whoa.
He continues, I mean, like, this is a satanic thing that she just happens to be with a f***ing... Like, it's set up for me to
Wow.
do something. I mean, I know she's been with other
That's so
guys before. You
disgusting.
think I like that? No. But what I do many times, I try to think, it's not that big of a deal. It's not a big deal. I mean, it's not a big deal to me, though, because I'm a virgin. I've never had... I've got tons of footage of it, all different kinds, but I'm a virgin. I've never known a woman. And she's been with a French guy, and
It's
they say
apparent,
the
it's
French are the
obvious.
best lovers. I mean, I
It's
wouldn't know if that's true or
obvious.
not, but I guess she knows. And now she's gonna marry this black guy, and I've already told you, that's unacceptable, you know? It's completely unacceptable. He claims that he's not just upset that she's dating someone, but it's the fact that she's dating a black man. He says, you know, for her,
And that was why I had that shock look in the beginning of this video when he first mentioned a black dude, because in my mind I was thinking, nah, he has to be racist. Just I couldn't prove it yet. But this, you know, getting how far are we in right now? 48 minutes into this video? Yeah, I already knew. I just picked it up early
is a
without
dick,
even
you know?
knowing the
But
full
I'm a piece
story.
of you know, the reason why whites are so afraid of, you know, black people taking their women is because, you know, like the saying goes, once you try black, you ain't going back. And me having seen many
Once you go black, there ain't no going back. Yep, they do say that. They do say that.
graphic movies, yeah, most black men have very big private parts. That's true. It's very true. Do I find that threatening? I mean, yeah, my dick is about this big, you know? He holds up his finger to show about 2 inches of length. Maybe 1. And I did
Yo!
because he is naked. It does.
I
He continues.
I know
I've never
that
tried
this
that
ain't
before.
funny,
The only
but
thing I've ever
this is
fantasized
serious.
about is
But like,
maybe just
oh
bringing
my
her pleasure to
god,
satisfy her
they
needs,
all
you know, just
react the
going down on her or
same.
something like that. Just giving her pleasure, fulfilling her earthly needs, not f***ing her, because I know I'm insufficient for that, okay? I have prostate problems, and I got a little dick, and I'm fat, and I have no stamina. Anyway, just like controlling her needs. That way she doesn't have to go out and get it. I've never really fantasized too much about being in a relationship because I can't be in a relationship with anybody because of my emotional conditions. He says in the tapes, growing up, you know, I had hopes and stuff with women, even though I was fat and this and that. But, you know, I still had hopes. And then that's when it becomes apparent, my inferiority complex. I see a little beautiful white chick and, you know, my type. The dark hair, green eyes, that's my thing. I like beautiful, beautiful woman, beautiful face. And then they see a f***ing black man. And if one day I meet up with a chick like that and she's been with a black man and I got a little dick, it's just gonna give me problems. It's very like okay.
Wow.
He's so clearly racist, but also I did see some
Clearly.
netizens being like, I feel like he has a crush not on Björk, but on the producer at this point. Like, it's really bizarre. She's gonna get used to having big private parts down there. When I was younger, I wanted a chick. I wanted her to be my first, and then I would be her first. And you know, we could be together and go against the world, that type of thing. But I later changed the fact. Forget it. I don't want to get married. I don't want a girlfriend.
I always appreciated virgins, you know, because, you know, I am myself a virgin.
And my time, you know, when I was young, I would think, I'm going to marry a virgin. Because if you got a chick with a lot of experience and you don't have no experience, then you're kissing her and you got to think, man, she's been with so many guys. How many guys has she been with? How many? And that fact alone would just kill me inside.
It's just insecurity. It's insecurity at its finest. But, you know, at the same time, I do get it. You know, if you're a virgin and you're trying to get with somebody who's also a virgin, you know, naturally, you want to make that moment special. But if you get with a woman or a dude that has a ton of experience, it's not going to really be special, because then in the person's mind, they're going to be like, am I good enough for this person, considering that they already experienced enough? Like, I understand, but, you know, at the same time, you can say whatever it is you guys want to say. It's insecurity. It's insecure. And if that really does turn you off, you should ask that question when getting to know somebody in the beginning, before you decide you want to just settle down and want to sleep with them. It's just that simple.
Said he just wanted to love Björk, and she's ruined it all by dating that music producer, which is why she needs to be harmed. Ricardo tells his little video diaries that there has been a change in his plans. He says, I'm going to do it somewhat different now. The AIDS thing, I'm afraid I'm not going to be able to do that. Why? Because I don't have AIDS, you know, that I know of. And to obtain it from a sex worker is going to be very, very, very difficult, very complicated. So, you know, it'd be very tricky. Ricardo switches his plan to using hydrochloric acid instead.
Still in the needle, or?
No, a spray. He wants to acid attack her in a bomb.
Oh my gosh.
So what am I left with? Right now, I have two options. I'm 85% using hydrochloric acid.
If he cannot inject AIDS into her, he will spray acid all over her, permanently scarring her. The prototype is simple, a book bomb. The rest of the video diaries is of him trying to execute his new plan. He was able to get his hands on 36%, even though he wanted 100% hydrochloric acid. But he starts experimenting with the acid to see if it'll even work in the first place. He gets all suited up in what looks like a face shield, rubber apron, rubber gloves, a rain jacket. It looks like one of those disposable rain ponchos, but I'm sure it's from his former position as an exterminator, right? Oh yeah, he quits his job. We'll get into it. It looks a little more protective than a raincoat. But his biggest concern isn't even the contact with the skin. He's like, it's the fumes, the inhalation of the fumes. Now, the camera ends up malfunctioning, so we can't see what the results of the experiment are, but he does test the hydrochloric acid on pizza, bread, vegetables, and then ultimately a little bit of on himself.
Oh my
all with
God,
very, very disappointing
really
results.
out
He
here
says,
doing
I'm not too
this.
happy with it. I don't think it was enough. I touched it with my hands. I touched the surface of it and nothing happened. Nothing happened on the pizza either. It's just soggy. Which is how he moves to sulfuric acid.
This is
Sulfuric acid is the
insane,
most
y'all.
commonly used acid for acid attacks. It is highly corrosive, and you can find it in household products like drain cleaners. It just melts things away. On humans, it'll cause at least severe burns, and then it can get even into the territory of deep tissue damage, leading to permanent disfigurement, blindness, long-term psychological trauma. And this is doing it for him. He compares the two acids on pieces of salami. The hydrochloric acid, it turns a tiny piece of the salami into a deeper red color, almost as if someone got a sunburn. But the sulfuric acid basically kills the salami with dark splotches of burnt meat all over. It's gonna be the sulfuric acid. He starts manufacturing his own spray mechanism. Basically, this is his getup. He's going to have hollow out a book. He's gonna send letters to Bjork's management and say, hey, I want Bjork to read this script of this movie that my massive Hollywood company is producing. Maybe she wants to be a part of it.
This is
He's going to
sick.
ship over this book, and inside of it is going to be a hole. When you look at it from the outside, it looks like a book. But when she opens the cover to read it, there's going to be a mechanism that gets triggered, and it's going to splash sulfuric acid all over her face, chest, hair, everywhere. The biggest problem, though, with the acid is that once you wipe it off, like if you were to wipe off sulfuric acid instantly, the damage lessens by tenfold. It's still probably going to leave scars, but it's not going to be as bad. If you're able to wash it off almost immediately, it's not going to be permanent. He says it takes time for this, at least a minute to do some serious damage, I would estimate. I don't know, perhaps at least a minute, 60 seconds. Now that's the problem. Let's say I got the book. I opened it and that all over my face. The first thing I would do is run to the bathroom. If you splash a lot of water on you and then you just wash it off, it's going to do minimal damage in comparison to what it would be if it were to stay on your face for at least a few minutes, couple minutes. That'll be beautiful, man. So this is what I was thinking. As soon as you open the book and wait for like 2 seconds, let the acid go, let her scream, and then say there's going to be a voice trigger, like a little stereo system, a cassette that starts playing. This is a bomb, and it'll blow up and destroy the house. The first thing she's gonna do is grab her son and get the fuck out of the house. Get her child or whoever's in that house, get the hell out. She's gonna worry about her face afterwards. I'm counting on that. Of course, I'm not gonna have an explosive in there.
But just the fact that of, a countdown, in 20 seconds, this will blow up, let her run out the house, all burning up and stuff, and then wait till, the bomb, or, the house blows up, which is not, and then all that is going to be eating up her face, little by little.
Evil.
That's a hell of a plan. Hell of a plan.
Evil.
Very insightful, very sadistic. But because this is what happens if you splash a lot on you and then you just wash it off.
He's clearly aware of what he's doing.
To what it would be if it were to stay on your face at least.
Clearly aware.
Couple, 3 minutes. That will be beautiful. It burns right through clothing like that. Makes holes in clothing. So that's going to be fucking beautiful. Fucking beautiful.
Like I said, I'm not going to let pride stand in my work.
I can't condone to that at all. That's just evil. That's evil at its finest.
Whatsoever. I don't care how much work I do on this little thing. My goal, as far as this concerns me, is to screw her up psychologically. The trust factor, just completely rape her mind, like completely destroy that, screw her up completely, and then of course her up physically, okay? Ricardo starts sketching out Bjork's face on a giant slab of cardboard. He does not use his so-called artistic skills on the drawing. He's mainly focused on getting her to be a somewhat believable size on the cardboard. Once he's done, he hangs up the cardboard sheet with Bjork's drawing onto his shower wall. He uses his little canister that he's been preparing to put the acid into. He mixes water with black paint, puts it inside, shakes it up, lets it spray all over her. And this is supposed to be a simulation of what will happen to Bjork when she opens that book.
Opens the book.
It looks like someone threw 50 water balloons at a target. It's a lot of liquid.
Holy
Dense
shit.
liquid. It's not like a mist.
So it looks like it would work, and it would be bad.
It appears fatal. I mean, it gets all over the cardboard. Bjork
it's gonna comfort her.
Ricardo steps back to admire
Cardboard
his work. He grabs
self.
the camera and he shoves his face in the camera.
Direct fucking hit. That's what I did. Now there's fucking art.
I'm doing, and I mean, all over her face, all over her chest, especially here.
Wow.
Man, when she takes that shirt off, it's just gonna rip it off. Her flesh.
Oh
Fucking
my
beautiful.
God.
That's gonna be fucking sulfuric acid, dude. I had no idea it was gonna explode all over the place so much. Wow, that's good. Because any people around are also gonna get fucked up too. That's beautiful. I'm in love with what I'm making. Hopefully I'll be satisfied with the whole mechanism as much as I am with this. This is just way beyond my expectations. Way beyond.
Much more. That's gonna be fucking sulfuric fucking acid, dude. Sulfuric fucking acid. Okay.
He gets excited. He says the only better thing from this plan is if he can get her and her son at once.
What are y'all's thoughts on this video so far? For those who've made it this far, watch me react to this. What are y'all thoughts on this? What are y'all thoughts on this? And also, if you guys made it this far, be sure to provide links in the comment below on what other Rotten Mango videos you guys want me to react to, remotely similar to this. and I'll be sure to do daily uploads. Well, not daily uploads. I'll make sure to upload 2 of these a week on my YouTube. So hit that notification bell, and if you guys haven't already subscribed, be sure to subscribe, please, as I will provide more stuff like this.
Her son's like 5.
What?
Can you imagine if I get both her and her son, 2 birds, 1 brick? That's how he
Not
says
the
it.
son.
You better believe.
And he
because
was
it
only
shoots
10
out,
at the
shoots up
time.
everywhere, man. Goes up in the air. It'll get in the eye. I can at least make her blind,
No.
give her a few scars, melt her face off, because that way nobody wants her. But if anything, she'll be so psychologically screwed up, she won't be able to be in relationships anyway. She'll be so withdrawn. I mean, she might stick to music if she has her throat intact. Yeah, and if she can't talk, she'll probably still compose music. That's what he says. Ricardo's phone starts blowing up near maybe the halfway point of the vlogs. It's the only person that can stop him from doing something like this. And she's calling him right now. Does he pick up? What is she going to tell him? Not to do anything crazy, that she loves him, that everything's going to be okay, that they're going to see each other soon and she's going to hold him in her arms? He picks up the phone. It's his mom. And afterwards, he starts vlogging. This whole week, I couldn't sleep because I started taking sleeping pills and stuff. Not to think, about my family, because I just feel guilty as hell. Just guilty. So his mom lives in Uruguay, and his brother, George, aka his boss, has been sending sly little reports to the rest of the family about how Ricardo is doing. And clearly he sees a decline. He doesn't know how bad it is. Ricardo's really good at hiding it, but he sees something is happening. And he thought he could trust his brother George, but he's just been reporting everything to the parents, like the fact that he recently purchased a gun. His mom is crying over the phone, begging Ricardo to promise them that he will never buy a gun again, that if he loves them, he will never touch the gun. This is when we see a big shift in the vlogs. In the video diaries, it does seem that Ricardo takes a step back from his plans. His mom does seem to have an effect on him where she can kind of somewhat bring him back to reality. I mean, don't get me wrong, he's still fully infatuated with Björk, but it's almost very briefly seems like even he himself realizes how bizarre his plans were. He's trying to at least see things in a reasonable, rational manner. He vlogs, I put it into balance. Who should I dedicate my attention to? My mother or a complete stranger? Of course, my mother. I put it into more perspective now as far as my plans that I had with her. Notice how I use the word had? It has been temporarily postponed. Why?
Wow.
Well, partially because I'm worrying about my mom right now, but my first attention...
I'm just lost for words after just witnessing and seeing everything I just seen. I'm pretty sure those who are watching this can also relate. It's crazy on how there are crazy, sick-minded individuals in this world that think like this and would actually commit to doing something like this to harm someone as well as their kid. This is not cool at all. This is not right at all.
As my mother, as a matter of fact, in
I
a
can't
couple of weeks,
believe
I'm going to
it.
be visiting her in Uruguay. On top of that, after talking
Really
to his
crazy
mom,
world that
he
we live in.
rented... Yeah, the timing is very strange. He rents a DVD of 14 guys having intimate relations with one woman all at once. He said that video put the world into perspective for him. It's calming him down. Watching that video over and over and over again is making him realize that he doesn't have to be angry about Björk being with a black man. I mean, at the end of the day, sex is sex, no? And this woman in the video was with a black man, with an Asian man, with all sorts of men. And he's just losing all the initial anger that he felt because he says, I was very pissed off at the beginning, but she's a grown woman and this is not anything, in this world, everybody has sex. If it wasn't sex, I wouldn't be born. And besides, being with a black guy, I mean, after seeing that video with all the different
It's
colors
true,
and all
but
that,
I
it's
can't
all
justify
the
that
same thing.
behavior
So
at
it doesn't really
all.
bother me anymore. And I'm glad.
Nah,
I'm glad
nah.
I didn't think I could change.
He's gonna relapse and
But I
go
did.
crazy again.
So now what to do with all the recordings I made about, my plans? I can't destroy them. But it is a liability to have those because one day, if for whatever reason somebody sees those, I'm
Oh, no doubt.
He starts thinking about getting rid of his tapes, which is a
And
good
look
sign.
at that.
This whole
Still
plan
got
is about
found.
to get scrapped. He's
It
almost
still
in a cheery mood,
resurfaced
saying
and got
things in the
found
video diaries
because
like,
she's talking
I want to
about
make all
it.
the women in the world happy. I want to make my mom happy. I want to make her happy, feel happy.
And over 2 million people watched this video. And I'm pretty sure that this was all over the news. So regardless of the fact, he is fucked. But let's
My mom is
continue.
very
Let's
worried
continue
about
seeing
me.
what
She
happens.
hasn't eaten in days. I haven't drink hardly anything. Dad was even crying a little, asking me if I wanted to move over there with him, and all I needed to do was find a job to pay for food. Don't worry about shelter, I can live with him. You know, they're under the impression that I'm having a hard time over here financially, but I'm not.
Especially that day that she saw me in the airport. She came back after not seeing me for like a year. I mean, that really caught me off guard. I mean, yeah, I knew she was going to be happy to see me and this and that. So I was like, oh, mama, you know, why not? You know, like that. She said hi to George, and then she saw me, and she just started crying. It's, you know, she was, I like, oh, you know.
I wonder if the parents thought that he's about to do something to himself.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So they didn't think that he's about to hurt someone else.
No. And a series of incidents start taking place that turns this whole thing around and almost speeds it up. Ricardo gets into multiple fights with his brother. He gets very lazy at his job, and he quits his job in anger. So now George, his older brother, is no longer going to be the one keeping tabs on him. And Ricardo feels like his life is over. He's got no financial means. He has no contact with the outside world. He is going to be able to live on $2 a day on food. He has no cable, no TV, no phone service, because all of those are getting cut off. He's about to get evicted. He has nothing and nobody and no backup plan except his plan. So he just casually vlogs again with his hair shaved. I'm gonna do it. He starts ranting. She was the chain that was holding me to this world besides my mother. I mean, that sounds horrible, but the chain with my mother is because I feel debt to her. You know, I owe her. But with Björk, it's not like that. I have this link that's love. Anyway, this link that was holding me to earth each day is gone. Is what I'm doing an act of vengeance? I'm not exactly sure, but I'm gonna destroy her. God damn it, you know? Hey, I wasn't asked to be a part of this. That's the problem with having kids. This is the problem. The people have kids for selfish reasons, People avoid childbirth control for selfish reasons, okay? And you have to ultimately pay for every mistake that you make. That is the problem with having kids.
Wait, what about kids?
He's basically saying this is his parents' fault. You can raise them the best you can and this and that, and they can end up all screwed up like me, okay?
I could be a lot worse, but nonetheless, I'm going to bring my parents and my family a lot of pain, a lot of shame. But I was not asked to. None of us are asked to be brought into this world. It is a crime. It is a...
No, it is not. We're all put into this world for a reason. It's all part of God's plan, part of his blessings. And people can say whatever it is they want to say about it, but it's undeniably the truth. Do not ever get into this way of thinking. Do not. You're put here. You're put in this world for a reason.
Crime.
If there's always a
bring
reason.
Children into this world, and you shall pay for it. We
No.
live in a world of monsters. Do you understand that? A world of monsters. I'm gonna
Yeah,
die
you're one of the
with
monsters.
So I will die as a monster. I'm not gonna die an innocent man. And I held up as long as I could. My original plan.
Well, you could have changed. You could have changed for the better. Because everything. Yeah. Also, another thing too is everything that we do is a choice. We're not forced to do stuff that lead to harm. That is all a choice.
Things change. Things change. Things change.
I mean, this is gonna destroy my family. This is gonna be a skeleton in their closet, but I can't live for them. If I'm gonna live, I have to live for myself. I can't do this. I can't be alive to please others. It's not gonna work. I'm too selfish for that. So, I mean, I'm sorry, but hey, I gotta do what I gotta do. So he finishes creating his acid bomb and takes it to the post office to ship it. He brings a gun with him just in case, because he states he cannot get caught. He would rather die than go to prison.
I will walk over there. I have my handgun loaded in my sack here. So if I don't return, I just want to say goodbye to everybody. Better hurry up and go now. I'm gonna go now.
He says he is successful in shipping the package. So other terrifying moments from the footage include him making comments about his body. He talks about how he has an extra X chromosome, and 1 in every 1,200 people have it. And most of the time people don't even know they have it, but some people have symptoms, and his symptoms included enlarged breasts. So he's stating even when he is thinner, he has large breasts. He just has a lot more breast tissue that becomes fattier. Yeah. So at one point, he is ranting about that. He also holds up a giant power tool and he
Trying to
states that he
validate for
can't use it
why
though
he
because his
thinks and
neighbors are going
does
to
what
hear
he
the power
does.
tool.
Sounds
And he
like
comments, this
it's
is
a
like me
coping
having a big dick.
mechanism
It would just be pointless. I still can't use it.
that most people with a mental illness would do.
In another segment of the video diaries, he's
What
rubbing his
is what
eyes,
it sounds
stating
like
that
to
he
me.
has all these allergic reactions to the chemicals that he deals with on a daily basis as an exterminator. And he comments, scratching, oh, the pain hurts. My body is sending endorphins. You know, like the expression, oh, it hurts so good. A lot of that can be applied to sex too, especially for women. They're getting around, you know, and it hurts for some, but it feels so good because of the endorphins. There's another point in the video diaries. He starts talking about how he was on the road and he saw a car that flipped over 3 times and crashed. He and his friend pulled over and they see a bunch of girls get out of the car, maybe in their 20s. One of them had a busted lip. The other one had a broken ankle, had blood from her head. So they stopped to help and wait for the police. One of the girls was clearly in shock, major shock. She looked good, but she was in shock. Not like good, but like she looked
Okay.
okay. She's sitting down and he could see the outline of her private parts through her tights. And he said, I'll be frank with you. I was not really turned off at all by the blood. That's all he gives us. He also mentions that he ran out of toilet paper, so he has to go back to using his hand. He also mentions how he is his worst enemy and he just needs the bomb to be mailed to London and he is able to successfully do that, if you will. But none of it matters because it will be traced back to him and he knows it. He knows he cannot outsmart the FBI, nor does he want to. He just knows he needs to get it to Björk, ruin her, and then he's going to die. He says, if they come bust down the door and arrest me, I go to prison, I become a in prison, okay? I can't let that happen. I'm not going to survive at all in prison. He starts preparing for his death. He says one final message to Björk. He says, Dear Björk, everyone's safety depends principally on the fact that nobody wishes to kill them. We have come to depend on what we have called the goodwill of civilization. But Agatha Christie says murder is easy. It's unfortunate that we live in a world of monsters that wish nothing more in their hearts than to strip you of every possible joy in your life. So thus I introduce myself, to strip you of every possible joy in your life. I intend no lesson to be taught. I have little insight, no ideas, no solutions that can make any difference. I just want to make you cry. I really doubt any success in this attempt. This was, but just my low-risk mission. I am, though, ready to embark on my last attempt. Your death was not my intention. What you will give me is your pain, in exchange for my family's despair of my death. My death is really less related to my obsession with you.
And the fact that you're gonna blame your own parents for you obsessing over this woman who does not know you, doesn't even know that you exist, is a you problem. That is all you. You cannot blame your parents for that. You chose this path. You chose to be obsessed with her. You could have easily moved on. But, you know, people with a mental illness, it's sad. It's sad that you can't reason with them. And I feel like he probably potentially could have been reasoned with had he went to therapy and wanted to seek to get help, but he chose not to get help. So it's kind of hard to feel any remorse.
My unwillingness to partake in this world for various reasons. My mission, though, is related to you. Because it is my last joy. Honestly, your only mistake was having caught my eye. I really should not blame you for not being what I wanted you to be. You being a mother, there is nothing more than I could take from you than your son's innocence. I would jump at the chance of disemboweling your son, slowly hammering his kneecaps into a bloody pulp in your presence, tear into his flesh,
like
to consume
who
his flesh,
would
to
talk
become
like
one with
this?
his flesh. To enter new worlds with your pain becomes my sacred key. Well, I am a realist, though. I will just bury a bullet in his head. It's easier. I'm not crazy.
This
I
is just
pretend
evil.
to be. I want her.
Oh, and then hit you with, oh, I'm not crazy. I just pretend. Now, anytime someone tells you that they're not crazy, you should actually take into accountability that they're crazy. That's a red flag instantly.
To stay and suffer. There's no point in.
And that even applies when they do say that they're crazy. Still believe that them. Still believe them that they're crazy.
Alive, maimed, all destroyed emotionally. Okay, it's so much more, a much sweeter revenge. You know, the French say that revenge is a dish
never the
best
answer.
served cold. You know what? Oh man, It's a dopamine rush every time I think about it. Every time it's because of the revenge factor. It's an alleviation of the pain. So it's a joy or alleviation of pain. That's basically the purpose of life, to get dopamine rushes and avoidance of pain. So I want to do this. It's not because I have to. It's not because, all the voices are telling me to, or God told me to, or my dog told me to, or demons have spoken to me. I want to. I am in complete control of the situation. No one else. My mind. Me. Myself.
I don't know what he said.
Me either. But remember how he shaved his head through the video diaries? Well, now he wants to fully get rid of all the body hair on his face and head. He uses a pair of scissors to cut hair off of his head, which takes just as long as you would imagine, a very long time. He uses the scissors to cut off his eyebrows. Honestly, he looks very terrifying, and I'm sure it has a lot more to do with the fact that he keeps demonically making faces at the camera after this. He doesn't talk much in the very last tape. He just slowly starts using face paint to draw red zigzags over his face. Like an artist doing a new project, he takes his time and he uses a small paintbrush. And then he uses the green to fill in the other marks, like a stripe. Oh, also he paints his nipples red.
Is there a reason, meaning?
Yes. So he says that it's going to help his family. He says, this way, if George finds me, it won't be that much of a shock. It'll be a depersonalized type of thing because I look weird as fuck. And I hope that'll be a coping mechanism for him. So I'll look just so unrealistic and unlike myself. So that should help. I mean, I do feel really sorry for their pain sometimes. But I don't think so. I think this is his way of trying to be artistic and weird.
He's just trying to be artistic.
He sits down and he plays his favorite Björk song called I Remember You and starts preparing himself. He starts breathing very, very heavy. A lot of netizens have stated that at this moment, it almost seems like he's having a battle in his mind where it almost appears that reality is fighting to take over. And there are moments where it seems like he's about to pull himself out of his bizarre plans and his fantasy and perhaps come back to reality. But alas, he does not. He starts breathing very heavy,
I wish he
almost
would
like
have.
he's hyperventilating. And then
I really wish he would have snapped back into reality and regained his senses. But with people like that, you just gotta pray. You gotta stay far and away from them and pray for them in a distance. You can't help people that don't want to be helped.
and he self-exits. At the end, you hear his body make one last breath. It's like a gurgling noise. Ricardo's family were notified of his death, and they knew he had been struggling with his mental health, but it had been that way for most of his life. But because he had recently been seeing a therapist, he had sought out a therapist. He made the initiative to get help. They thought things were looking up. So side note, during all of this, Ricardo was seeing a therapist. And to be fair, the therapist did not notice anything alarming about Ricardo's behavior. And I don't think this was a case of a therapist or a family being totally negligent. But Ricardo sought out professional help just so he could get prescribed anti-anxiety medications because he didn't want to feel anxious about his plans. He didn't want to feel anxious when he went to the post office to mail the bomb. None of them knew how bad all of this had gotten. I mean, he was pretty secretive about it. They were constantly checking up on him, his family, and he vlogged about it. Like, they would come check up on him, and he would have to hide all of his supplies.
So let me get something straight. So he did seek help, but the help that he got wasn't sufficient enough because the therapist didn't see anything wrong with him. Wow. Wow. Let's take a moment of silence and we really think about that. I mean, that really goes to show how messed up the whole care system is. Wow. Wow.
It does seem like they did make as much effort as they could with their current situation and their own personal lives going on. So one group of people think that Ricardo is a very sick man that tried to talk through his very confused feelings and thoughts to a video camera, that ultimately he was sick and troubled and he needed help. Some people stated that they can't help but feel bad for him. Another group of people believe, yeah, okay, he's very clearly a sick man. We feel sympathy to a degree, but why do sick men keep victimizing other people? Like, why do people always have to become victims when a man is sick in the head? I mean, you could...
Exactly. It's hard to feel sympathy when someone does sick, cruel things and is supposedly self-aware of it. You explain that you're going to do this shit. You explain it in a vlog camera. And it's like, yeah, it just makes you question and just sit down and really think, like, should I feel bad for them? And that's why I said initially, you just got to pray for people like that. You can't even reach out. I wouldn't even want to reach out or want to speak or try to help the person. You need to just pray for them in silence. No amount of words can I don't think can help save someone that's that sick and deranged in a mind like that. As messed up as it is to say.
I'd argue there's lots of sick men. There's lots of sick
There's a
women. There's
lot of
lots of
sick
sick people everywhere.
people
They
in the
don't send
world.
acid bombs to their favorite celebrities because they're sick.
Yeah.
I mean, what are your thoughts? Which group are you in? Because even though the acid bomb was intercepted, it did not physically hurt anyone. I'm sure the harm was done to Björk and her team. She
It
made a
was,
public
no
statement
doubt.
afterwards where she stated, "I was very upset that somebody had died. I couldn't sleep for a week, and I'd be lying if I said it didn't scare the out of me. That I could get hurt, and most of all, that my son could get hurt."
Yeah.
But she still sent flowers to Ricardo's family because they too lost someone special.
Yeah.
Well, it's just kind of a very sad thing, obviously when somebody shoots their face off, it's terrible.
So it does seem like everyone is agreeing that Ricardo's family did try. It doesn't seem at all like they're just like this negligent family that was like, okay, whatever, you go hurt people, we don't care. She said, "I just find it very sad that people get into that kind of state,
They do.
Well, I'm very upset, obviously." Soon afterwards, she had a new song come out called "So Broken." She stated she created it while she was dealing with the trauma in her kitchen. She was just in her kitchen all day,
Just thinking
dealing with
about
the
that.
PTSD, and the lyrics go, "So broken in pieces, my heart is so broken. Here I would go trying to run ahead of that heartbreak train, thinking it will never catch up with me. I'm so broken. I'm trying to land this airplane of ours gracefully, but it seems like I'm just destined to crash." I'm not sure if this
Holy
fact
cow.
changes anything or would have changed the sequences of events, but a day or two before Ricardo dies, Björk and Goldie, her boyfriend, had broken up. Obviously, it has nothing
Wow.
to do with Ricardo. Neither of them knew of him at this point, but it just hadn't hit the press yet. Again, I don't think it would have changed much.
It
I
wouldn't
truly
have.
don't
It,
think
no,
that
it no
Ricardo
doubt wouldn't
was
have.
doing all of this because Björk was dating a black man. I feel like it might have only stalled things. His obsession might have even grown bigger until she inevitably does another thing that he does not, quote, approve of. Now, side note, the package was in South London en route to Björk's address, but it would have never gotten to Björk. She has a whole management team that fields her packages first. So unfortunately, it could have severely injured or killed someone on her team that was just doing their job. And thankfully, it was caught before it got to that point. On top of that,
I am
Björk wasn't even
thankful.
in London at that point. She was actually in Florida, in the
Wow.
same state as him.
Wow.
And that is the story of Björk's stalker.
That's crazy.
What are your thoughts?
It's terrifying. I wonder,
It's
like, he can't be the only one, right? And I also wonder, this happened in 96. What would he be like today? Because things are so
Oh.
much more connected. You
Advanced.
can find, like, a million times more information about someone on the internet. Like, does that make things so much worse? Or is there more help to be found through online communities? Or is it just going to be so much worse?
I think so much worse.
so much worse.
Because the way that he was obsessively somewhat tracking her, I think that he didn't know that she was in Florida because there was a delay in the news cycle. But I wonder if this was happening in today's age. If he knew,
Right.
would things be different?
Right.
Yeah.
It would be
Terrifying.
10 times
So
worse.
please be safe out there, and I will see you guys in the next one.
Okay.
You
Alright, let me go back to that.
One
Okay.
law enforcement.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know why I did that. I guess I had it saved on my watch later. But yeah, that was a very, very, very disturbing video. Probably not my most disturbing video I've watched from her channel, but this one is for sure up there. Cause yeah, it really goes to show on how sick people are in this world. And when you're like a celebrity, they're gonna naturally attract stalkers that are gonna do crazy stuff like this. And it's like she said at the end of the video, who's to say that she doesn't have other fans that are gonna do something like that? you know, props to Bjork for being the bigger person and sending, flowers to Ricardo's family. She didn't need to do that, but she did that out of kindness and sympathy, which is very admirable and respectable. But you guys already know how I feel about it. It's very sickening and disturbing hearing that something like this had happened. And if they didn't catch that bomb on time, it would have it would have been very catastrophic and horrible. The fact that he not only wanted to harm her, but wanted to harm her son on top of it, and was talking about doing them cruel, inhumane things to that 10-year-old, it's just sickening. But yeah, I will leave a link to the original video in the description below. But yeah, I don't really have any other words. I already said what I said in throughout this video. And yeah, if you guys want me to react to more stuff like this, please send recommendations in my comment sections, or be sure to just hop on my Discord community and send video links over there under the YouTube recommendations channel. But yeah, I love you guys. Make sure you guys stay safe. And if you guys have a family member who has an obsessive personality trait or a mental illness, help them. Try your best to help them. Pray for them. Get them help. Get them the help that they need. But yeah, without I'm not gonna hold y'all. I hope you guys stay safe out there. I love you, and make sure you guys like, share, and subscribe for more content. Help me reach 1,000 subscribers. I will gladly appreciate that. But you guys have a good one. NG Sensine out.